Welcome back to Pathfinders, a hiking podcast with Brian. I'm Brian Hudson, and today we're exploring protecting your knees with low-impact hiking techniques. I'm thrilled to welcome Jeff Adams to the show. Jeff's a good friend and fellow hiking enthusiast that has helped me train smarter. Jeff, your trail coaching blends biomechanics with real-world miles, and that's exactly what we need. For listeners, our aim is simple. Translate science into practical steps you can use on your next hike. We'll cover form, gear, strength, and planning with special attention to descents. Jeff Adams, welcome. Thanks for joining me on this knee-saving dive.
Thanks for having me, Brian. Knee protection matters because downhill forces can multiply body weight times at the joint. Every hard heel strike sends braking force through the patellofemoral area, and the tissue can become inflamed. Our goal is to shift work to stronger areas like hips and glutes, supported by trekking poles and a stable core, while at the same time staying balanced. When we control stride length and landing softness, we reduce shear and compressive load without slowing to a crawl. Think quiet, springy forward, rather than loud, braking backseat. That mindset keeps miles enjoyable today and preserves cartilage, tendons, and confidence for future hiking adventures.
That image of swapping braking for spring is great, Jeff. I've watched hikers transform a sketchy descent simply by softening landings and letting the hips lead. Before any of that, though, the tissues have to be ready. A quick warm-up changes how joints track and how tendons load, and it only takes minutes. I notice fewer stumbles, better pole timing, and stronger push-offs when we prime ankles and hips first. Let's give folks a 5-minute circuit they can run in the parking lot or at the trailhead that wakes everything up without fatigue. What's your go-to sequence, and why those moves?
Only 5 minutes of simple and effective movements is sufficient. Start with 30 seconds each side of leg swings, front to back and side to side, to prime hip flexors and abductors. Then ankle rocks, 10 slow reps, knee tracking over the second toe to open dorsiflexion. Follow with hip circles, 10 each direction, keeping ribs down. Next, walking lunges with a reach, 8 steps total. Reaching overhead to lengthen hip flexors and engage the core. Finish with 2 sets of 8 bodyweight squats, smooth tempo, focusing on knees over the second toe and even pressure through foot tripod. You should feel warmer, taller, and more coordinated, not tired when you start walking.
Love that it's dynamic, joint-specific, and brief. The ankle rocks cue is definitely underrated. When dorsiflexion improves, knees track cleaner and descents feel immediately smoother. One reminder for listeners: save long static stretches for after the hike. Pre-hike, keep it moving like this sequence Jeff just laid out for us. Now, onto the meat of knee-saving technique and downhill strategy. Most of the complaints we hear happen after long drops, where people overstride, slam heels, and let the torso fall behind the feet. Let's break the pattern. Can you outline the simple checklist for descending? Stride length, body angle, landing mechanics, braking, line choice, and handling big steps today.
Okay, now it's checklist time. First, shorten your stride so your feet land under you, not way out front. Second, keep a slight forward lean from the ankles, ribs stacked over hips, and avoid sitting back. Third, land softly with bent knees and hips. Think springs, not stilts. Never locked knees. Fourth, avoid hard heel braking. Let the foot roll and use poles to share load. Fifth, zigzag steeper sections to mellow the grade. Lastly, step around big drops instead of off them. Use micro switchbacks to keep knee angles moderate. And for a bonus, aim for quiet feet. Noisy footsteps usually mean you're braking, not flowing. Ease, rhythm, and control are what you're aiming for here.
The quiet feet test is brilliant. I'll sometimes ask hikers to descend while keeping their breath through the nose for the first 20 yards. If they slam the heels, they lose that calm breath immediately. Softer landings keep breathing steady and attention wide. Also, love the micro switchbacks. They're available on almost every steep bit if you look. Let's pivot to uphill now. People assume climbs are knee-friendly, but deep angles and collapsing arches can still irritate things. What are your favorite uphill cues for sparing knees? Step size, where the drive should come from, knee tracking, pole help, and how do you use switchbacks effectively and consistently?
Okay, Brian. For climbs, think smaller steps at a steady cadence. Keep heels kissing the ground to use the full foot tripod, and drive from the glutes. Push the ground away rather than yanking with quads. Track knees over the second toe to avoid valgus collapse. Slight forward lean from the ankles keeps hips engaged, not the lower back. Use poles like extra legs, shorten them a notch and plant beside the feet to assist the push. On switchbacks, avoid cutting. That forces extreme knee angles. Instead, use the turns to reset posture, breathe, and maintain shallow, repeatable ranges that your joints will love.
That's a great list, Jeff. The glute-driven cue solves so many problems, and that knees over second toe image keeps ankles honest too. On the hardware side, poles are game changers when used well. I see two common mistakes: wrong length and death gripping the handles instead of loading the straps. Both waste energy and shortchange the knees. Let's dial that in. Walk us through neutral setup, how to tweak length for climbs and descents, where to plant for balance versus propulsion, and how to thread and tension the straps so the wrists and forearms can relax, while the poles actually carry part of the weight.
You want to start neutral with elbows at roughly 90 degrees when tips are on level ground beside your feet. For descents, lengthen each pole 5 to 10 centimeters. For climbs, shorten a similar amount. Plant just ahead and slightly to the sides to create a stable 4-point base. Avoid reaching far forward, which turns poles into brakes. Use straps correctly. Hand comes up through the strap loop, then grasp the handle so the strap rests across the heel of your palm. That way, you can relax the grip and still load body weight onto the poles, offloading the knees while improving rhythm and balance.
Beautiful. When the strap bears the load, the hands stay calm and the knees sigh with relief. Let's hit the other contact point: footwear. We coach fit first. Secure heel, roomy toe box, no hot spots, then cushioning and torsional stability appropriate to terrain and pack weight. Trail runners shine best for light loads and long miles on mixed trails. Boots can add protection and side-to-side support for rocky, off-camber ground or heavier packs. Rockered soles help roll smoothly and discourage heel breaking. Learn the heel lock lacing technique for descents and replace shoes when midsoles flatten. Squished foam makes every step harsher on joints.
And the pack matters as much as the shoes. Reduce carried weight where possible. Audit extras, share group gear. Choose lighter but reliable items. To fit the pack, snug the hip belt high on the iliac crests so it bears most of the load. Then tighten shoulder straps and load lifters to bring weight close. Keep heavy items near the center of your back and mid-height to minimize torque on knees. Manage water weight intelligently with filtering or caching rather than hauling gallons. A well-fitted lighter pack makes downgrades calmer, reduces quad fatigue, and keeps you upright instead of pitching forward and slamming your heels hard.
That's some great advice, Jeff. Lightening the pack is like an instant technique upgrade. To bulletproof the knees further, we need strength and stability activities 2 to 3 days weekly. Think step downs, split squats, lateral band walks, calf raises, single leg RDLs, and hip hikes. 2 to 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps, focusing on slow control and full foot contact. Pair that with mobility. Improve ankle dorsiflexion and hip rotation, then post-hike stretch quads and hip flexors. For recovery, foam roll quads and the lateral thigh, but avoid mashing directly on the IT band. Target surrounding tissue instead. Add an easy cool-down walk to normalize motion afterward.
2 final things you need to consider: terrain and pacing. Favor softer, even surfaces. When rehabbing, avoid very long continuous descents. Keep a steady cadence and take micro breaks to reset posture. Temporary sleeves or kinesiology tape can help during flare-ups, but they're not substitutes for strength or technique. Here are some red flags to look for: sharp pain, swelling, locking, or giving way. Stop and seek professional guidance right away. On your next descent, lengthen your trekking poles by 5 to 10 centimeters. Keep a slight forward lean, and take short, quiet steps with softly bent knees. If a step forces a deep drop, switch to a zigzag line to immediately reduce knee load.
You gave us a masterclass there, Jeff. Choose forgiving terrain, pace yourself, respect red flags, and lean on sleeves or tape only as temporary helpers. I love how today's conversation tied technique, gear, strength, and planning into one simple goal. Shift load away from the knee while staying balanced and smooth. We covered warm-ups, downhill and uphill cues, pole setup, footwear, pack fit, key strength moves, mobility, and recovery. Put it together on your next outing and notice the quieter steps, calmer breathing, and happier joints. We work on this every day at Pathfinders because it keeps people hiking longer. If you got anything out of today's discussion, please share with your hiking buddies. Thanks for listening today, and thank you very much, Jeff, for sharing your hiking knowledge and experience with us. And until next time, see you on the trail.